schmuck, we got to hit record on our fucking.
I hit record.
I didn't hit record yet.
Right. Oh shit! I got to open that up.
You hit record on the fucking Zencaster.
Yeah. Hold on. I forgot about that one.
You cannot make it seem like we're this stupid.
But I am this stupid.
Well, he could never use this as the opening, so that's okay.
Here's the thing, right? I'm not the one who went and got 103 fever. That's on him.
Yeah. You probably
we all
only
have
have
our
98.
jobs to do, and Kevin's job is to do everything. And if he's not willing to do that, well then,
Yeah, he's an idiot.
how's that my fault?
No, it's 100% his fault.
History Defeats Itself is a comedy podcast. Kevin, John, and Greg are not experts, historians, or even all that smart.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to a fine episode of History Defeats Itself, brought to you from the people that also bring you Kevin's on History Defeats Itself. You're going to notice something tonight, ladies and gentlemen, our avid listeners. We are void of one of our trio cohorts, and his name is Kevin.
The pale one.
The one that's super pale. He's super sick right now. He's got 103.8 fever.
Do you think he's more white than normal?
I don't know. When you get sick, to get more white. He's definitely more clammy.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go ahead and say this. He's never looked well to me.
he's looked unhealthy since he was 2. So
I don't know how he thrives.
I don't think he does. I don't think he thrives.
I don't think he thrives.
He's a thriver. He's a survivor.
So poor Kevin's really sick, and we all went back and forth all day today. Do we do the show? Do we not do the show? Do we do the show? And the bottom line is, I'm going on vacation tomorrow, so we have to do the show. So, luckily for you listeners, you got the two funniest hosts of the three. That is true.
But you're still going to get my "that is true" statements, and Greg's still going to be self-deprecating. So
I'm going to be John-deprecating today.
Don't worry, Greg is definitely going to bring in a dick joke every 7 minutes.
I might not. So History Defeats Itself. History Defeats Itself, I think it's called. Never done this before. HDI, as it were. See, there's a concept to it, right? Typically what you got is one guy that presents information on something, and the other two don't know shit about fuck.
But tonight is only one who doesn't know shit about fuck.
And, check us out on our social medias. It's just History Defeats Itself, at History Defeats Itself, # John's Beard.
Instagram. You can email Greg at oldman@aol.com. Also, I was born in the 60s at yahoo.net.
I was not born in the 60s.
Yeah, but you got an old email address.
I was conceived in the 60s. And that's the part that matters.
You were being conceived. Yeah. In the summer of 69.
Yeah, Brian Adams was there.
Yep. And there was probably 69ing before the intercourse.
Oh, God, I hope so. That would explain my vertigo. It's kind of like being in space. You don't know up from down.
All right. So tonight. Oh, wait. Do you want to do that? Do you want to do the thing?
No, you go ahead, John.
You wrote a thing. So
I didn't write anything. Are you kidding me? I didn't write shit.
So tonight, our fearless leader is me, John Banks. And Greg doesn't know fuck all about what the fuck we're doing. And honestly, I'm not really sure. Wait a second.
Why do you have to call yourself the leader? You're not the leader. You just happen to be the guy that's presenting the fucking information.
No, because tonight I have control over the recording, and I'm Kevin tonight. Like I am God. I get the power. It's
So I guess I am ranked third. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just because I was the one doing it. So,
well, who is going on vacation tomorrow? This guy.
That's true.
So I don't care. I'm drinking alcohol in my body. Gonna put it in there.
Where are you going again? You're going to Egypt?
I'm going to Turkmenistan.
They don't believe in doctors there. But if you chew on a bone, you'll have strong teeth.
What?
That's what we learned. Remember the guy he told his people to chew on dog bones chew on bones because he watched dogs chew on bones and they never had dental problems?
I don't really listen to the episode.
Oh, man.
Actually, I do listen to the episode when I listen to the episode, and it's amazing how much I learn that I didn't pay attention to while we were recording.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah. That happens to me all the time. Like I don't ever hear anything you say until I actually listen to the recording.
No, I just think about how much time I hate Kevin.
Yeah.
I look at him and I'm like, man, how can a human being be so white with bangs?
It is all consuming. To do not a callback. What would you call this? To do a correction, I guess, on a previous episode. I am now growing my mustache out all the way, so it covers the top of my lip.
Are you serious?
I am. See?
Why?
Well, because I'm gonna do that thing when it gets long enough, where you like do it like the.
Oh, okay. Handlebar?
Yeah. I mean, I guess it would be called a handlebar. It's not really. I'm not much of a handle. Sidebar? Sidecar? I don't know.
Sidebar. I'd like to have a sidebar with you.
I believe it's called the I'm going to have sex with a man mustache. So,
what?
Freddie Mercury.
I don't think you have to call it that.
I want to, though. So,
okay.
It's clear.
Wait, you want to have sex with a man or you want to call it that?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Greg, when's the last time you were in a fight?
A fist fight?
A fist fight.
More recently than you would expect. Because I do play hockey.
Oh, wow. Okay. How
shit
was that?
Shit happens out there, man. I would say probably within the last 5 years. Here's the thing. You get this artificial sense of safety because you feel like, someone's going to break it up. But what you realize is once you start fighting, people just let it go. Like no one's going to like jump in and go, hey guys, knock it off. Because my mom's not there.
That's true.
It's just that they're dorks. So,
well, usually your mom's the one screaming, hit him, Greg, hit him.
My mom's usually the one punching me in the face.
Yeah, I mean, what about you, Kevin?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, 103-degree fever.
Well, I don't get in fights because I'm so pale. People don't mess with me.
I usually can't get in fights because I drink so much beer.
I'm really, really out of shape. Why
I'm in Colorado.
Why is this his voice?
It matches his pasty white skin.
All right, well,
I'm sure he didn't expect to be the butt of any jokes.
Yeah, I'm sure.
An absentia.
So I haven't been in a fight in 20 years, but
since you worked at Kmart?
No, it's been after that. I think the last time I think it was in Atlanta. The last time I was in a fist fight. I think
that would make sense.
Yeah, maybe. Did I?
That's kind of a fighty city.
Yeah, it is. That's yep. Come for the culture, stay for the fighty. So
this sucks because since it's just me and you playing off each other, I actually have to pay attention to what you're saying. I can't just fucking.
It's a lot more pressure. We really do need. I didn't. You know what, Kevin? You an apology. Not only do you do all the stuff, you also carry the whole conversation. So
yeah, you listen.
Yeah,
good job, Kevin.
Wow, man, you should do another podcast without us.
Something about AI
or whatever. Do 2 or 3. Do one about hockey. All right. So tonight we will be talking about a pastime that's actually still legal in some states in America. Dueling.
What?
Yeah. Well, not necessarily dueling, but there's something called what is it called? It's called
cockfights.
No, it's called.
You don't even know what your topic's called?
It's called. No. We're doing it on Dueling, but the thing is still legal in the U.S., in Texas, and in Washington State. It's called mutual combat. But we'll get into that at the end.
Mutual combat.
Mutual combat. It's like mutual sex, but instead of tenderness, you're hurting each other. Well, I guess you can hurt each other in sex.
Some people, if you're doing it right.
Yeah. Well.
Is it Mutual of Omaha?
Here's the thing. My throat's not going to choke itself, you know? So, all right. Dueling. A duel.
Well, apparently you've never heard of like autoerotic asphyxiation, but whatever.
Well, I don't want to die. Like if somebody else is choking me and I pass out, they can stop. If I do the autoerotic asphyxiation, I might kill myself, as we've seen happen so often.
Michael Hutchinson or Hutchins? Hutchinson.
Carradine?
Yeah, Carradine did it too. Who's the lead singer from NXS?
That
was Michael Hutchinson.
Eddie Vedder?
I don't know if there's a son. No, don't ever fucking say that about Eddie Vedder.
Well, he did. I mean, he was in a band called Pearl Jam, so
He still is in a band called Pearl Jam.
Well, I thought he died of autoerotic asphyxiation.
Oh my God! Please do not get your news from HDI. More specifically, John Banks. What the fuck are you talking about?
I'm just making up stuff. I don't want Eddie. I don't want you to die. I know you're a listener. I apologize. Love your music. You're still
Don't worry.
strong.
He wrote a song to combat what you're saying. Oh, I'm still alive.
Have you heard any of their like stuff recently?
What happened?
Have you heard any of Pearl Jam's like more recent stuff?
Are you gonna come out with a fucking It's the name of the song's called "Alive." It was appropriate.
No.
Oh, you're being serious? I thought you were making fun of me.
No, I'm asking you. Have you actually listened to like Pearl Jam?
I only listened to the 10 album.
Yeah,
That's it.
Yeah. So they're it's very fascinating. Their new stuff is. If you heard it, you wouldn't be like, oh, that's Pearl Jam. Like yeah.
I'll have to give it a spin. Is that what people say?
Yep, that is.
Spin it on their phone.
Yep, that's exactly what
I'll give it that doesn't even make sense.
All right. So a duel is an arranged engagement with agreed upon rules in combat between two people with matched weapons.
Don't I have to smack you in the face with my gloves first?
I mean, I think that's more
that's
dramatic.
A duel, bro. Like you wronged my woman.
Well, but I don't think they actually slap each other in the face.
That's what I've seen in like so many countless movies and TV shows.
Well, I mean,
cartoons.
the movies are historically accurate.
Yeah, especially documentaries.
Is that a cup or a keg? Is that like a mini keg you're holding in your hand?
No, it's a cup. It's made by a company called Ball.
Oh,
the ones that make the mason jars.
Oh.
And this cup is kind of cool because it's recyclable. It's made out of aluminum.
Do you know what? Do you know that Ball is actually an aerospace company?
Get the fuck out of here, dude!
They actually also do aerospace shit.
Okay.
So canning tomatoes and blowing up shit.
And cups that I put my alcohol mixed drinks in. Good job, Ball.
During the 17th and 18th centuries, we got a bug. Duels were mostly single combats fought with swords, and I don't mean like,
Did they change weapons?
They did. Over time, they moved from swords to pistols.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about the pistols. I only exclusively thought about swords. Forgot the whole Aaron Burr thing.
Well, if you're talking about a movie where they're slapping with a glove, that's probably most likely they're gonna. After that, they fight with guns. Like
no, I thought that's when they use the swords. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying I'm wrong. So
there's also dueling banjos. I get you could duel the banjo. Well, you play back and forth while some dude gets raped. So
whoa,
hey, that's what's in that movie.
And it was Ned Beatty.
Yeah, poor
Deliverance.
Ned.
Burt Reynolds. I think Burt Reynolds didn't have a mustache in that movie.
I don't think he did he?
I didn't like those movies when he didn't have a mustache. It wasn't right.
I thought it was the raping I didn't like.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
That was yeah.
I love like rape.
Man, I haven't seen it. I got to go back and watch that movie because he was so tough.
You don't need to
Burt
watch
Reynolds'
that
character,
movie.
and then he breaks his leg, and he's like such a baby about breaking his leg.
Well, it hurts.
Well, but if you're gonna be all tough like that, then you gotta walk it off.
The femur is the largest bone in the human body. If you snap it, it's gonna really hurt bad.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.
Okay, so we're at swords. How dare you, sir? You seem to have offended my perspective on your beard. Let's take it out to the death.
But well, most of the time, people didn't die from dueling.
What's the fucking point?
Well, no, they died from the bullet wound. Wasn't it wasn't the walking 10 paces and turning part that killed him. It was the shooting.
I thought we were back on the sword part. We didn't even get to the bullets.
No. So beginning in the late 18th century in England, duels were more commonly fought using pistols, although fencing and shooting continued to coexist throughout the 19th century.
Okay.
Which, for those of you who get confused by 18th, 19th, 20th, so 19th century would be the 1800s. And why they call it the 19th century and not the 18th century, it's very frustrating. I understand why they do it, but I don't like it. Thanks
for giving us a lesson on what frustrates John. Welcome to I'm Frustrated, because I don't understand the way things work.
It's true. The duel was based on a code of honor. Duels were fought not so much to kill the opponent as to restore one's honor by demonstrating a willingness to risk one's life for it.
And get stabbed in the balls.
Yeah. Like, I wonder how many people died, like, instantly during duels and how many of them it took weeks or months to die.
Well, I think it depends where you get it.
Yeah.
Right?
And if you had rubbed that sword in poop earlier that day.
Remember in Reservoir Dogs when the guy got shot in the stomach and he like pretty much just bled the whole movie?
Yep. I do.
And Harvey Keitel's like, it takes a long time to die when you get shot in the stomach.
Yeah.
And it did. It took a really long time.
It did take a long time.
Yeah.
It was as though Quentin Tarantino wrote the whole movie around that time
And
frame.
ears.
Yeah. Oh, the ear.
Let's pause for a while and watch Reservoir Dogs. That was a good fucking movie.
The tradition of dueling was originally reserved for the male members of nobility. However, in the modern era, which would have been like the 19th century, it more often extended to those of the upper classes. On occasion, duels were fought between women.
Okay. That's
but very, very, very rarely.
That's my favorite kind of duel, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I don't think that's... Nope.
Uduel.com.
Yeah.
I like it when they first start.
Wasn't there like a thing called chat roulette or something like that where you just
I don't know.
randomly pop into chat rooms?
I don't know.
Most of the time it's just dudes masturbating.
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about, but sure.
Yeah. You don't know. Right. Okay.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Sure. The first published Code Duella, or Code of Dueling, appeared in Renaissance Italy. The first formalized national code.
Wait, there's a town in Italy called Renaissance?
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
You just noticed that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or is it in the Renaissance? It happened to be in the Renaissance in Italy.
Well, that's an important... honestly, it doesn't matter.
All right, you know what? I'm going to pause everything. Give me 10 minutes. I'll be back.
That's fine. Hey, will you bring back some pizza or something?
Sure. I'll have what's his face run it over to you.
Okay, some mozzarella.
So
Gorlami.
Right. The first formalized national code was that of France during the Renaissance.
Oh, yeah, that makes more sense.
So by the 17th century, the dueling had become regarded as a privilege of the aristocracy. Yep, a word I can't say. We know I don't do wordy words. So let's not worry about it.
Longer than 5 letters kind of throws you off.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. What was I going to say? King Louis VIII of France outlawed dueling in 1626. Despite this law, dueling continued, and is estimated that between 1685 and 1716, French officers fought 10,000 duels, leading to over 400 deaths. So I guess there's a number. So it's only 4% of people die.
Yeah, that's not
40.
not too bad.
4? That's 4. That's 4.
I think it's still enough to get your adrenaline up.
More than people died of COVID. So dueling more dangerous than COVID,
Really
not as dangerous as malaria. Do what?
I said that's really different.
It is. In Ireland, as late as 1777, a code of practice was drawn up by the regulation of duels. A copy of the code, known as, and I love this, the 26 Commandments, was to be kept in a gentleman's pistol case for reference should a dispute arise regarding procedure. So,
God, while you're looking up the rules, you're going to get fucking shot.
I love the 26 Commandments. It's like, one must use a pistol. One must walk so many paces. One must turn when told to turn. I don't know what they are. I should have looked those.
It's pretty gentlemanly to have rules. Otherwise, there's chaos.
Yeah, otherwise people just start shooting each other. All mamby-pamby.
Yeah, you don't want that namby-pamby shot.
You want your murder to be agreed upon.
Yeah, that's right.
By the late 18th century, the Enlightenment era values began to influence society with new self-conscious ideas about politeness, civil behavior, and new attitude towards violence.
I love how they justify like a grotesquely violent act by saying, "Hey, let's have a bunch of rules that make us little fucking sissy boys."
By the 1770s, the practice of dueling was increasingly coming under attack from many sections of enlightened society as a violent relic of Europe's medieval past, unsuited for modern life.
Fuck, I don't know what that means, but it doesn't sound good.
One cannot kill one if one is in a horse-drawn carriage.
Why do you think that is? Is it because you're seated and vulnerable?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's just an assassination. So
that does happen. Oftentimes when you have road rage and someone gets out of their car and starts stepping up to you, it's like you're kind of vulnerable just sitting there.
Which is what you're talking about now? Oh,
yeah, that's a modern day road rage duel.
Oh yeah. I thought you were talking about assassinations. I'm just like, I don't think
not
people
assassinations. No.
Like, what do you think road rage would be in a carriage? You're like, whoa, you son of a bitch! Hold on, I got to climb down this ladder.
I think your horse just shit on me. Let's go.
The growing middle class now maintained their reputation with recourse to either bringing charges of libel or to the fast-growing print media of the early 19th century, where they could defend their honor and resolve conflicts through correspondence in newspapers. So can you imagine? It's like texting, but it's really slow.
I mean, I don't love violence, but I gotta tell you, dude, if I gotta wait like a week for your response and the fucking
Mr. Mitchell, you have insulted me when you looked at my wife's ankle.
By the way, I also have a Commodore 64 for sale.
And missed encounters. You were wearing what looked to be a very uncomfortable dress that took you hours to put on.
I was supersizing a Big Mac combo.
One of us wasn't in the right time frame. Influential new intellectual trends at the turn of the 19th century bolstered the anti-dueling campaign. The utilitarian philosophy of Jeremy Bentham stressed that praiseworthy actions were exclusively restricted to those that maximize human welfare and happiness.
Aw.
Yeah, so this guy was like, so it's kind of funny. So there's also the same people who were abolitionists. So after slavery was abolished in Europe or in England, they started to advocate to end dueling, which I find it. And what was very fascinating is the same people who were like, no, let's have slaves, were also like, no, we can't end dueling. Imagine that.
That doesn't seem right to me.
Which it's kind of, it's interesting, right? Because that means that people
are assholes.
Well, but there's a certain group of people in America who don't want guns, and there's a certain people who do, right? Or and I think there's like a lot of gray in the middle of that, but there's definitely there's people on far right and left of that who want absolutely no guns, and there's people who are like, well, no, like no matter what you do, there's going to be violence and people are going to kill people. Right. So it's just, and I guess that would basically be the same, like whoever would want guns now and say that guns aren't the problem would be the same person saying, no, we should be able to duel and own people. We should be able to do those things.
Not that we need to turn this into a gun debate.
No, I'm not turning it into a gun debate.
I was going to make a point that was going to turn it into a gun debate.
Yeah, go for it.
It seems weird to me because you have to admit, like, even if you're a pro gun guy and Second Amendment fella, you still have to admit that people are getting murdered by guns where if guns didn't exist, those people would not have been murdered.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're so like dug into your fucking philosophy that it's still better for the majority to be responsible gun owners. I mean, if 99.9% of gun owners are responsible gun owners, that's great. And it's a pretty good statistic. It's awesome. It's wonderful. But that 0.01 means little kids die in schools. And
Right, but I don't think the argument is that there's I don't think they're saying that guns don't kill people. I think the argument is that it's not good people with guns, it's bad people with guns. And I'm not taking their side. I'm just saying I think that's more the argument than just and I know every once in a while somebody will be like, oh, like if guns didn't exist, they'd find another way to kill you, which is true. But if a guy walks in with a knife and stabs somebody, two things are gonna happen. Everybody either tackles the guy with a knife or everybody runs away and one person got stabbed. Right?
Right. Yeah. No, I get it for sure.
Yeah.
And I also don't think like you're a good person with a gun until you're not.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess
you're a good person in a duel until you're a good person in a duel until you only count to 9 steps and turn around and shoot instead of 10.
I guess you could make the argument that if we got rid of guns, then people would learn how to use throwing stars. Then you'd have mass throwing stars.
Those are tricky to use, by the way.
They are.
Super pointy.
Take more time to get good at than a gun. So,
well, you want to get good at a gun too.
Yeah, no, you want to get good at it. But I'm saying I think it's a lot more work to be able to throw a piece of spiked metal to hit a target and kill it. So,
yeah. I mean, I would be 100% for guns if you could promise me that no one is ever going to use it to commit a murder or a crime with. Like even if I can even see, yeah, it's good to have guns for self-defense if you fucking need it.
Yeah.
I'm not like crazy super like let's abolish all. And also I think that we live in a society now, in this culture anyway, there's so many fucking guns. There's no way to get rid of all of them. They're just everywhere.
It's like it's 3-1 now or 4-1 or something like that.
People, I think it may even be higher.
Yeah, maybe it's 10-1. So Are you looking it up?
I was going to look it up, but then I figured I'm not going to be able to fucking find it. I don't know.
And so other groups that were against dueling were the evangelical notion of the Christian conscience began to actively promote social activism, basically saying that it's not very Christian to kill each other or try to kill each other.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Even though they have the whole eye for an eye situation.
Which again, I think it's like it's the thing that just fascinates me is that we don't change, right? Like we do. Well, I think we do. Like we evolve a little bit at a time, but it's like human beings at their very core are human beings, right? It's like it's like, in other words, we have nuclear weapons now, so we're just like human beings on a much more dangerous scale, right? And
it's a much more the arms race is a scarier duel.
Yeah, and you're just like, whoa.
Well, yeah, I think you're right. I think human nature, there's always going to be people that have their opinions, and you just hope society, just as a whole, has common sense.
or right. It's like, or hopefully what we're doing is we're and I know people are like, people are like, oh, it's like we're going back to the Stone Age, we're going back to the 50s and all this kind of stuff. But it's like,
that's a big difference between the Stone Age and the 50s.
Well, there is.
We're going back to rockabilly.
We're going back to when gangs danced. I'm going to stab you after this song. Another group, the individuals in the Clefin sect and similar societies who had successfully campaigned for the abolition of slavery, condemned dueling as ungodly violence and as an egocentric culture of honor.
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
Which would kind of be like the thing, like it's like, oh, you're like, that's basically like the 1850s version of saying you got a little dick, so you need a gun. But they say it so much more eloquently.
Yeah, right.
For thy member is so small.
I'm going to mail you these truck nuts. But there weren't any trucks, so the truck nuts didn't make any sense. So here's a gun. I don't know why you have to mail you them, by the way. I don't know where that came from.
And you can't drive your truck. I guess, yeah.
You can't deliver them with your truck.
Yeah, unless your truck has truck nuts.
How would one get a pair of truck nuts from point A to B? Carrier pigeon?
Well, and does
Could you imagine seeing a carrier pigeon carrying truck nuts?
Well, first of all, you'd be like, "Is that a carrier pigeon?" And then secondly,
carrier pigeon's got huge balls.
Yeah, oh no, those are truck nuts.
He just works for Amazon. It's fine. Just making a delivery.
By about 1770, the duel underwent a number of important changes in England, Gregory. First, English duelists enthusiastically adopted the pistol, and sword duels dwindled. I know that makes you sad.
That does make me sad. I
I
mean,
know,
let's show some fucking... I bet you there's some traditionists back then who are like, you know what, you guys and your fucking evolution of our sport, you're really pissing me off.
Now,
back in my day.
Now you're going to let women in.
That's right.
Got rid of her swords.
It's a slippery slope. Next thing you know, you want to marry a tree.
That is how they get you.
That's how it works.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, right? They gave up the sword, and we have gay marriage. So
yeah, history defeated itself.
They're not wrong.
This is called satire, ladies and gentlemen.
So
the opinions, the opinions expressed on history defeated itself represent only Kevin Rosenquist.
Yes, Kevin wrote this whole thing for us.
It's hard to memorize.
Special sets of dueling pistols were crafted for the wealthiest of noblemen for this purpose. So they got rid of their guns and basically they created dueling pistols.
And I'm sure one of them didn't work.
Well, they were single shot pistols, which at that time, I think everything in that time period was single shot.
Yeah. And then you had to take that big fucking musket pipe cleaner to fucking clean out your little
Well, if you're a nobleman, you probably have somebody that does that for you. You put on your gloves so you don't get gunpowder in your delicate hands, and then you shoot a guy. It's like, who came up with these rules, right? I shall not.
As long as everyone agrees, it's fine.
Yeah. So in the United Kingdom, to kill in the course of a duel was formerly judged as murder, but generally the courts were very lax in applying the law as they were sympathetic to the culture of honor. Probably because they were also in the culture of honor, I would guess.
Right. They weren't exactly like Switzerland.
Yeah. You have insulted me, Your Honor. I challenge you to a duel. Well, fuck. I should have been more strict on that murder stuff.
Do you have to, like, if somebody invites you, as it were, to a duel, do you have to accept, or could you be like, nah, I don't want to die?
Well, so I know, I'm not sure. I'm not, but I do know after the thing where they would pick one person to fight for an army, that kind of morphed in medieval Europe to be what started happening was you would have like a knight who would go to like a town where there was a bridge or basically one way out, and then they would set a post and they would challenge other knights coming out to a duel, and you could not accept the duel, but if you didn't accept the duel, then you would have to like take some sort
wash their car or something.
Well, you'd have to wear like a scarf to let everybody know you're a big baby who doesn't want
yellow belly.
Yeah, pretty much. And if there was a woman who came out unaccompanied, because that was you can't do that. It's a big no-no at that time. Like a woman had to be with an escort. And so if a woman came out of the town not escorted by a man, then the next night to come out, she would have to leave a glove, and the next person to come out would have to fight that night, get the glove, and find the lady. Very, very complicated. Like they just didn't have television.
Yeah, they had to come up with something.
So once, yeah. Which it just seems like there was so many things killing you back then. Why would you need another?
I don't think anyone made it past 20.
Probably not.
And in fairness, if we only lived to 20, who gives a shit if you die in a duel?
That's true. That's true. You died. He died at middle age, 15. He still had 13 years left. He leaves behind his 13 children.
He probably had his bar mitzvah at 5.
By 1840, dueling had declined dramatically when the 7th Earl of Cardigan was acquitted on a legal technicality for homicide in connection with a duel with one of his former officers. Outrage was expressed in the media, with the Times alleging that there was deliberate high-level complicity to leave the loophole in the prosecution and reporting the view that in England, as in quote, in England, there is one law for the rich and another for the poor. That is also very true today, right? Like, so again, it just goes to show you that if you got money, you can do whatever you want.
You can get out of a lot of shit, or you can participate in a duel.
You can drive your white Bronco down the freeway after murdering your wife going 22 miles an hour and have the cops stay behind.
Can, and we're all going to watch.
The last known fatal duel between Englishmen in England occurred in 1845 when James Alexander Seton had an altercation with Henry Hockey over the affections of his wife, leading to a duel at Browndon. So,
well, that's pretty fucked up.
But that was,
I mean, I suppose I'd have to defend the honor of my wife if somebody was a prick.
Well, that was the last known fatal duel, not the last known. But yes, I mean, couldn't you just say, "Hey, stop"?
Nope, got to shoot him. That only goes so far.
I mean, I don't really have a counterpoint.
You don't even have to say, "Hey, stop." You can just get up out of the bar and go home.
It's true. It's true. This was my favorite thing. This is actually what inspired me to want to do dueling, or to do this episode. Not duel anyone, but to do this episode.
Gotcha.
So, so there was this guy Otto von Bismarck, in Germany, and he was like a political guy in Germany, and his rival Rudolf Virchow. They were preparing for a duel in 1865. The latter, Virchow, had the choice of weapons, so it was said that he chose sausage for his weapon of choice.
Makes sense.
But so Virchow, he was a scientist, and he was like into cells and microbiology, and he was like one of the guys starting to understand that like microorganisms, believe that basically like there's like cleanliness is a good thing. So anyway, so he chose sausage, and in his own sausage, it was going to be fully cooked, and Bismarck's was going to be full of parasite larvae.
Okay, I see where he's going.
Each man was to eat their sausage, and so when Bismarck heard that that was the weapon of choice, he backed out of the duel.
Smart guy.
Because you're basically going to shit your brains out until you die.
I think we should have a duel too, me and you, and we'll just both go to Chipotle and see what happens.
Are we going to both get like we should? Oh, you know what we should do? We should go to Fat Burger and get that 5-patty burger.
It was only 4 patties, dude.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize.
That makes a big difference.
Wasn't it like 2 pounds of meat? Or something?
It was a lot of meat, and I ate that whole motherfucker.
You did, and you didn't eat again for 24 hours. Is that what you said?
I did not eat again. Yeah, I don't think I've been to Fat Burger. No, I think I have been to Fat. We've been to Fat Burger.
We've been to Fat Burger. Yeah. God,
I love Fat Burger.
Oh, it's so good. Not a sponsor, but man, that don't need to be. Go to Fat Burger. They're delicious. The most notorious American duel was the Barr-Hamilton duel, in which notable Federalist and former Secretary of the Treasury Alexander Hamilton was fatally wounded by his political rival, the sitting Vice President of the United States, Aaron Burr. Which, if you haven't seen the Museum Hamilton, go see it because it covers this.
It sure does, and it's accurate.
Fantastic verse. You think, how did they make that rhyme?
It is a sing-along.
Oh, it's so good. Dueling also began to be criticized in America in the late 18th century. Benjamin Franklin denounced the practice as unnecessarily violent, and George Washington encouraged his officers to refuse challenges during the American Revolutionary War because he believed that the death by dueling of officers would have threatened the success of the war effort. So,
gotcha.
Don't go killing. Don't go killing your fellow officers.
Don't go breaking my heart.
report of dueling gained in popularity in the first half of the 19th century, especially in the South and the states of the Old Southwest. However, in this regional context, the term dueling had severely denigrated from its original 18th century definition as a formal social custom among the wealthy classes. In the South, it was instead used by the contemporary press of the day to refer to any melee knife or gun where two guys killed each other. well, I'm sorry, where they killed each other with consent.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the consent. So if you had consent, it was still considered a duel in the South. And dueling began an irreversible decline in the aftermath of the Civil War. Even in the South, public opinion increasingly came to regard the practice as little more than bloodshed. So, again, we're not smart. Like,
Not great.
the fact that we're like humans have made it this far is really just amazing.
These people should have known back then when they were making these poor decisions, poor choices, that you and I and sometimes Kevin would be talking about it.
and
that
not
would
be
look
okay
good.
with it. Not be okay with it.
With the hindsight
Yeah.
of 2020, it's stupid.
Well, like,
people.
can you imagine? Like, and I guess that would be it. Like, it would be the same thing, right? As like guns or like what are other things, right? Like driving drunk or it seems like there's anytime there's any sort of opposition to some sort of social norm that could be looked at as bad. There's always people who like. Have you ever like there were like news interviews in the like early 80s where all these DUI laws started to get passed throughout the country, and people were so against it.
Oh yeah.
And they were just like, well, it's like, how am I supposed to relax on the way? I have a hard day at work. I want to have a beer on the way home. And that was that was the belief. And now you're like, what? What do you mean?
It was a pretty solid argument, though.
How am I gonna get home and beat my kids if I ain't got no goddamn beer in me?
That's right. I'm supposed to get home first and then put my beer in me? I'm likely to take a nap and then cool off.
What if I got to cut the grass? I'm gonna be too drunk. So dueling largely fell out of favor in England by the mid-19th century, and in continental Europe by the turn of the 20th century. Dueling declined in the eastern United States in the 19th century, and by the time of the American Civil War, dueling had begun to. Yeah, okay, that's just kind of redundant. Didn't need to tell you that. So I thought this was really interesting. Dueling was in the 1908 Olympics, but here's how it worked. So pistol dueling was demonstrated as part of the concurrent Franco-British exhibition using the Olympic fencing arena and in front of invited guests. There were no official demonstration sports until 1912. The competition involved two competitors firing at each other with dueling pistols loaded with wax bullets and wearing protective equipment for the torso, face, and hands.
But not the balls.
Or the knees. I guess
or the balls.
I guess you're counting on your counterpart to have better aim. So, but isn't that crazy? That was like it was in 1908. They were still
that's pretty cool,
right?
Well, I mean, if you're not going to hurt each other, what the hell?
And then there was like another thing in 1906 where they had dueling, but the way they did it was basically you had, instead of two people walking away from each other, it was some like competition in Ireland, I think. But instead of people walking away from each other, what they did is they had these like dummies set up, and you walked at the same pace away from the dummies and turned around at the same time and shot the dummies. And I guess it was like you got points based on how fatal the shot would have been.
Did they hire you to be a dummy?
I wasn't alive, you idiot.
Or they would have.
Well, I mean, first of all, a wax bullet's not going to go through this beard.
Oh, that's a good point. What does go through that beard?
Rice and soup.
No, it sticks to it.
Well, you're right. Rice sticks to it. Soup goes through it.
Oh, it does? It permeates? Okay.
Soup. Yeah. Sometimes it gets in there. I don't know why I eat soup. I shouldn't do it.
Oh, God, I was thinking I haven't had any soup for a while.
I should just be a solid. It should all be small pieces of cut up chicken. That's all I should eat. So, so you can still legally duel in 2 U.S. states, which is called mutual combat. as in a fist fight. This is allowed in Texas and in Washington.
Of course.
In Texas, people who wish to go fisticuffs must do so under the watchful eye of a police officer.
Of Marco Rubio.
Yeah, so basically the way it works,
Steve Cruz. Wait, Ted Cruz.
you're in a bar.
Who's Steve Cruz? I think I know someone named Steve Cruz. Not you, Ted Cruz.
Me and you were in a bar in Austin. Kevin's sick. he flew with us, but he got sick. He's in the hotel room.
Okay.
You say something offensive about my beard.
Okay.
And I say, I challenge you to mutual combat. And then you have to accept. Then
What if I don't?
Well, then if you don't, then I can't challenge you. I can't just then if I hit you, it's assault. But you have to agree to it. So then you agree to it. And then we have to go outside and find a cop. And you have to go up to the cop and you say, we're going to do mutual combat. And then the cop has to go, okay, let's do it. And then you can fight. But you can still be charged with murder, or you can still be charged with assault if you cause permanent physical harm.
Man, that's a lot of hoops to jump through.
I know, right? It just seems like just don't fight. Just resolve your shit. Learn how to communicate. And then in Washington, the law is basically the same. In fact, actually, I mean, it's written a little bit different, but it's kind of the same principle.
Only it's colder.
Yeah, it is colder and it's more rainy. But yeah, you have to get a cop to watch. So that's it. So that's dueling. We don't do any more. Have we learned? I think so. I think we've learned.
We stopped doing it. So yeah.
We stopped doing it, And I mean, are we violent towards each other? Yeah, maybe we should bring it back. I don't know. Maybe if we brought back dueling, maybe there'd be less shootings. I don't know.
I don't think so.
Well, there would be that's the thing, right? If we would just allow, maybe that's it. Maybe that's the answer. We allow these young guys who want to go in and shoot up people, be like, okay, that's illegal. But if you want to, you can shoot at another guy who's just as mad and angry.
I think it's a bad idea.
Okay. Well, let's.
But that's how you get ideas. You got to call them.
Discussion.
Yeah.
So here's to Alexander Hamilton. It's a very good musical.
Good work, Alex.
Cheers.
Cheers, everybody.
And catch us next week with Kevin.
Or 2 weeks.
Probably 2 weeks.
Kevin will be back.